Before you watch this video, you really got to know something. The first thing is, I started out to make a short, quick video on how to make a sweet camera rig like this for your ukulele. So if you wanted to film yourself playing, you could do so. And this gives you a good view of the fretboard while you're playing as you were looking at it, which is what any students would be doing. So that was my intent. The first thing I bought didn't work. I tried to fix it. I tried to re-engineer stuff, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. And I know a lot of you folks just want to get to, just show me how to do it. The problem is that I like to show you all my mistakes, because I know there are certain people out there that you'll try to do something, you'll be like, oh, I could do that this way or that way. And maybe that's the same way I did it and it didn't work, and you can learn from my mistake and know, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do it that way. So I've left all that kind of stuff in there. You can see over here I've got a radiator clamp. That was one of my fixes. At any rate, hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you learn something from it. If you need to make one of these, I definitely recommend watching the video so you know what not to do. And I'll put a link of the correct stuff to buy to make one of these below in the description, so you don't have to waste your time like I did, spending 2 weeks trying to make this crazy contraption. Enjoy the video. Alright folks, I have anxiously been awaiting the arrival of this thing, and it's supposed to be a mount that I can put on my ukulele or guitar for my camera. And the reason I've been waiting anxiously for this is because trying to get a tripod or a boom to get in the right angle on my ukulele is almost impossible because of my body, and my head is always in the way. So I always want to try to get a view to where it's like if you were looking down at the ukulele as you were playing it. But I could put a camera here next to my eyeballs and get that kind of view, but the thing that holds the camera, the boom or the tripod, is always in the way, and I can't find a way to get it around my body to get the camera in the right spot. So hopefully this will mount on the ukulele. And I also bought this little piece here, and the reason for that is this is for a GoPro mount, and I want to be able to use my my camcorder on that. So we're going to put this stuff together and see if it actually works. I'm a little concerned that this bar here may not be long enough, and I may not be able to get it out far enough to be able to look back at the ukulele right. But if that's the case, I can probably cut this in half, thread it, put an extension in there, and fix it. But we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so a couple things. One is, I found that if I move this over here to this side, and if it just barely fits in between my tuners, it gets me a little bit closer to where the or a little bit closer to the camera position where I want to be, instead of having it up here on the end. The only problem is that this rod right here is not long enough. It articulates a couple different ways. I have an adjustment here which will let this swing around. And then we have an adjustment here, which lets this move up and down. And we have two adjustments over here. One of these lets this move up and down. And then we have another one right here. If I can get it loose. We have another one here that lets this piece swivel around this way, and then of course this red piece also swivels. I've got these cranked down pretty tight, and so this piece here also swivels. So with all those points of articulation, I can get this kind of where I need it to be. Although the camera, in order to get it there, is actually upside down, but that's okay. I can always flip the video. The only problem is I can't get it far enough away. When I pointed at that, it's just too close to the neck. So I'm going to have to make this piece here longer. And I'm going to take a hacksaw, or actually probably a metal blade on the grinder, cut this in half. Now if this is solid tubing, I'll have to drill and tap both sides and then put some extensions in there. If it's hollow tubing, I'll just have to find something that fits in between it and maybe JB weld it or something to get this longer. But I need this piece here to be longer. The other option I would have would be to order a second one of these and then put this, take the second one that's this part and put it on the end, and then that would double my length. So, you know, that might be an option for you too if you don't want to drill and tap it, is to get two of these and then put these two pieces here together, because they would certainly connect with each other, because you got essentially what's a male and a female on each end. One other problem that I have with it are these things here. These turn, and this part here, I'm going to mark it for you so you can see what happens. When I tighten this, these just spin. There's nothing really holds them in place very well. So you have to, it just spins, so it's hard to get them tight. So I'm going to have to replace that with a nut or something so that I can tighten these, or get a pair of vice grips and I get it kind of in place, and then hold it and tighten it up real good that way. But like I said, most of these they just spin, so have to fix that too. Alright folks, so I decided that instead of cutting this and trying to adapt it, that I might want to use this and have it in videos or demonstrate it. So I really didn't want to redneck it up too much. So what I did was, and this thing cost me $19. The little red piece right here to adapt from GoPro to a 35 or a 1/4-20 screw for my camcorder. That was I think $9 just by itself. But I went ahead and I ordered this set, and this is basically a bunch of different length rods. And the reason for that is, again, I can't get this far enough away from the ukulele to get the right view of the fretboard. I can get the camera pointed the right way, but it's too close, so I need to make this part here longer. So I ordered this. This was like 20 bucks. And while I was at it, I went ahead and I ordered this. This is a universal ball joint type adapter, and it was $12. And I know some of this might be a little pricey, but again, I'm using it in my videos, and hopefully this will work out and I'll use it a lot, so I'll get my money's worth out of it. And it didn't hurt. I figured it didn't hurt to have an extra ball joint around. So, but hopefully all I have to do is take one of these, replace this section, and it will get me far enough away to where I can have the right view angle of the fretboard, because again, what I want to have is the view like I would have looking down at it, and so we'll go ahead and replace this and see if I can get the right view. I think I need to have one that's about twice as long, so I'm going to start with this middle one here instead of the longest one. Alright, so it does not have a nut on here. I'm hoping this has a little bag here, and I'm hoping that this will have the nut in there. Oh, better than a nut, it has its own thumb screws here, so that's even better. So I can get rid of that one. Might have to get a, nope, there it catches. Might have to get a screwdriver to get that caught on there. I thought it caught, but then it didn't. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So there's one end, and then insert this end over here. Now this has already got a bolt on this end, so I guess I will just insert that on there and then use the original screw here. Alright, so now we'll mount the camcorder on this end and see if I can get the right angle. Alright, by adding this, I think I can get this far enough away and at the right angle. I did have to use this universal piece here that I had ordered because otherwise there's just not enough articulation in the original item that I bought. But the problem I've got now is that this piece here is too long. And basically when you screw this in, first off, this end just rotates, so it just turns if it's loose, and so it's hard to tighten up. But even without this thing being well anchored, the problem I've got is that you can see that this piece here is so long that it dead ends at the screw, and so it physically can't tighten up enough to clamp that down well enough to be able to hold up the weight of the camcorder. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take a couple threads off the end of this piece so that it's short enough to where it can tighten up the collar. Poorly made, bad design. So unfortunately I couldn't find another one of these. This is like the only one I saw, so I had to order it. But otherwise I would not order this. This is a piece of garbage. But we'll make it work. Alright, so here's our moment of truth. I took off about a thread and a half from this. Again, this end just spins, which is a horrible design. Relying on plastic to hold something that you want to tighten is not a good idea. That's still not enough, but I'm going to try to get some vice grips on it, see if I can tighten it. I don't know if it's bottoming out or if it's just turning. Alright, I think it's bottoming out, so I'm going to have to take another thread or two off of there. Alright, so we took that back out to the grinder and took another thread and a half off. I don't want to take too much off at one time, otherwise it ends up too short and doesn't reach. But you can see where our gap here is almost closed. And again, it's just a crappy plastic design, I think, is my main problem. If I could find one of these clamp-on articulating arms that was made out of aluminum, probably be a much better deal, even if it was twice the price. And it's still not enough to keep that arm from twisting. Make sure that's all the way in there. Because, see, my problem is it just pops in and out. You can see we don't have a lot of gap there in the middle. Not a lot left to tighten. But when those two pieces there meet, I'm done with adjustment. Alright, still not working. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart going to put some material on the inside of there that will, number one, make it a little fatter. Means it'd be easier to grip. Number two, it'd add a lot more friction to the whole deal, so that and yep, we can see my problem right there. I've already broke it. This is just cheap plastic, so it wasn't strong enough to keep it from twisting, so I tried to tighten it down more, and then it just broke the plastic. So obviously I would not recommend buying this for this purpose. Alright, so I got a couple options here. I can take this piece and maybe try to epoxy it on here, but then I'm going to have to hope I get lucky with which way this is rotated when I epoxy it on there. It means I'll probably have to put something else on this articulating arm to give me this degree of rotation, which I still want to have. I don't see any other way to really secure this on here, again, because it's all plastic. I could put maybe a radiator clamp on it. That might work. I might give that a try, and then that way I can use it. But then again, now it's starting to look redneck again. But I may give that a try, because I don't know any other options. If somebody knows of a metal version of this, that would be great. I may get online and search and see if I can find one. But this cheap plastic stuff to hold an articulating arm, just too much stress on it, and it's not a good design. Alright, so if I want to use a radiator clamp on this, first thing I'm going to need to do is get rid of this. So I'll take this out to the shop and grind that off, and then find a radiator clamp that will fit around there, and we'll see if it'll work. Alright, so I got a radiator clamp here, and I'm not real confident this is going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. I'll put this in here, and if I can tighten this up enough to where it keeps it from moving, I'll be in business. Otherwise, I do have a backup plan. Alright, so it looks like that's maybe going to hold. Alright, so I'm going to put this back on the ukulele and see if I can get it in the right position. Alright, so I got my clamp on, and now we're going to move this stuff around. I'm going to have to loosen this radiator clamp a little bit so I can rotate it. There we go. To where I think I'm going to need it. Alright, we'll mount the camera up here and see if I can get the right view. Alright, so the clamp seems to be working, although I will tell you I bought one of these for 14 bucks, and it's all metal. This is metal, everything's metal, in anticipation of that clamp not working. So that way, plus this whole thing here articulates in a ball, it's all ball joints, so it articulates more than the clamp that I bought. But at any rate, I bought this $14 in anticipation of this radiator clamp not holding this, but at least for right now it does appear to be holding it. Again, it's clamped on and crimping plastic, so I don't know how durable it's going to be. Anyway, it took me quite a bit of manipulating all these different joints, but looks like I was able to get my camera in the position that I wanted. You can see my view right here, so that way when I make my chords, you'll be able to have a better view of it. So I think this is going to work. Now, it does make this all wobbly, so you can't just set your ukulele down, because the weight of the camera wants to twist it and turn it and make it fall. So you got to be careful that this thing doesn't set it on the edge of a table and then it falls off. Want to be careful you don't do that. Now, one of the problem I'm going to have is with this clamp. You can see my tuners are kind of hard to get to, so I think they will rotate. and the clamp itself is pushing down on this string right here, which is going to be a challenge. But my main thing that I'm looking to get out of this is the view of my fingers. So even if this thing wasn't in tune and I couldn't tune it, I'd be okay, because I could play the actual music over the top of the video of where my fingers are at. Alright, I'm going to see if I can tune this up though. So as anticipated, this pushing down on this string has raised the pitch. So I'm up to a C sharp. I don't know if I can easily tune it down. I think that clamp may be holding it in place. Maybe I'm going the wrong way here. Well, it looks like I will be able to tune it maybe. Yep. Alright, so it is tuned. Now to play it and see what it looks like when I play some chords.